Today, in the BIS class, we want to look at the sources of drugs. We want to know how are those drugs that we use to treat infections, how are they obtained? Sources of drugs are mainly seen in Pharmacology 1, and that is year 2, semester 1. The sources of drugs, we have 6 main sources of drugs, and these include plant sources, animal sources, mineral sources, microbiological sources, synthetic and semi-synthetic sources. Then the last one is recombinant DNA technology. Source number 1, plant sources. We want to see the kind of drugs that are obtained from plants. So when you look at the plants, we can obtain drugs from different parts of the plant, as we are going to see. Part number 1, from the leaves. From the leaves, we can obtain drugs. For example, eucalyptus leaves are sources of cough syrup. When you read on most of the cough syrups, you may find eucalyptus oil as an ingredient. So eucalyptus leaves are sources of drugs. We also have tobacco leaves. Tobacco leaves are sources of nicotine. Then we also have digitalis papula. Digitalis papula leaves are sources of digoxin, and digoxin is a drug of choice for treatment of heart failure. Then we can also obtain drugs from the seeds. A good example of seeds are what we call the castor seeds. Castor seeds, mu Luganda ze tuyita ensogasoga. Castor seeds are sources of castor oil, and castor oil is good at hair and skin repair. That's why when you read on most of the hair foods or those hair dyes, those things you put in hair, you may find castor oil as an ingredient. Then from flowers. From flowers we have cenopods, or what called cenopod flowers. Cenopod flowers are sources of anthracene. And anthracene is a drug for constipation. It treats constipation. Then we also have drugs from roots. From roots we have razapine. Razapine roots are razapine is obtained from roots, and it is used to treat hypertension. It is an antihypertensive drug. Then we also have drugs we can obtain from the bark of the plants. Kutwogera ku bark tutegeeza those peelings okuva ku stem ebipapajjo ebiva ku stem y'omuti. So what we call the bark. A good example is cinchona bark, which is a source of quinine. Cinchona is a tree grown in South America. That side. Its bark is a source of quinine. Quinine, and is a drug of choice for complicated malaria. So those are plant sources. Then animal sources. Animal sources, we have blood. Blood is a source of vaccines. Blood serum is used to manufacture vaccines, like the vaccines for COVID-19 is AstraZeneca is from blood serum. So blood is also a source of drugs. Then we also have sheep thyroid, and sheep thyroid is a source of what we call thylonine, which or thyroxine, which is used in treating hypertension. Then we also have the pancreas, and they say that the pancreas is a source of insulin, especially pancreas from pigs. This is so funny when it comes to Muslims. Pancreas is a source of insulin, and insulin is used to treat diabetes. Then you also have cod liver. Cod liver from fish is a source of vitamin A and vitamin D. Those are animal sources. Then we have mineral sources. Mineral sources, we have sources which are metallic or non-metallic. Then we also have the miscellaneous sources. So from the metallic or non-metallic, a good example is iron, and iron is used to treat iron deficiency anemia. Then you also have zinc. We have zinc paste, which is used to treat wounds and also act as a food supplement. Then we also have iodine. Iodine as an antiseptic, especially in wound dressing, is also a mineral source. Then also gold salt. Gold salt is used to treat rheumatoid arthritis, inflammation of connective tissues. We use gold salt to treat it. Then the miscellaneous sources. Don't forget that they are also under mineral sources. A good example is petroleum. Petroleum, when you read on the Vaseline that you smear on your body, most of them you will find the word petroleum Vaseline. So petroleum is used in making Vaseline and liquid paraffin. Then another good example is fluorine. Fluorine is an antiseptic, and it is used in most of the toothpaste. When you read that Colgate, you will find the word fluoride toothpaste. So fluorine is also a source of drug that is used to form or to manufacture toothpaste. Then from the fourth source of drug is synthetic and semi-synthetic sources. What do you have to know about the synthetic? Here we get a natural element. You get any natural element. Then they alter its nucleus or its DNA and the chemical structure to form the drug. And a good example is what we call imethine bismuth iodine. Then from the semi-synthetic sources, here we see that the nucleus or the DNA of a natural element is retained, but the chemical structure is the only one that is altered. But in synthetic, both the DNA and the chemical structure are altered, but in semi-synthetic, only the nucleus, only the chemical structure is altered, but the nucleus is retained. And a good example is ampicillin and morphine. Then the fifth source is what we call microbiological sources. Here we just get a microorganism itself, then we use it to form the drug. And a good example is what we call actinobacteria, is used to form streptomycin. Streptomycin is used in treating TB. Then we also have aminoglycoside. Aminoglycosides aminoglycosides are used to form what called gentamicin. Then you also have Penicillium notatum, which is a fungi, and it is used to form penicillin. So those are microbiological sources. We get a microorganism and we use it to form a drug. Then the last class, the sixth source of drug, is what we call the recombinant DNA technology. This is somehow complicated, but what you should know, what easily you should know about it, is that this is used to combine the DNA from different species. We get organisms of different species, we introduce or we combine their genes, then we treat them under culture, then we produce a new gene, we produce new genes, and those genes are the ones that are going to act as drugs. So a good example is hepatitis B vaccine. Hepatitis B vaccine is manufactured under recombinant DNA technology, where they get the virus gene, or the gene of hepatitis B virus. Then they combine it with a yeast cell or a yeast gene. Then they form what we call hepatitis B vaccine, as you see. Then recombinant DNA technology, also some anti-rheumatoid agents are also manufactured under recombinant DNA technology. Thank you so much. Those are the sources of drugs. What you have to know, don't stress yourself so much to cram everything. Just make sure that at every source you at least capture one example, you at least understand one or two examples. Then you want to save and attempt that question.